Bonjour and welcome back to another episode of T.E.D Mini, where together we'll be learning about technology, engineering and design. In today's episode, we'll be talking about personal protection equipment. When working in a school workshop, we normally make use of tools and equipment which are more dangerous than the tools we normally use at school, which would be normally our pen and pencils. Because of this, we need to make use of PPEs to protect ourselves from any harm or danger that can occur when using tools and machinery. Remember that generally, any tool that enters the workshop is very safe. However, if used incorrectly, any tool can become a weapon. So remember that keeping a safe and healthy working environment is the most important thing in a lab or workshop. So, let's look at what PPE means and the different kinds of PPEs we can use in the lab or workshop. PPE stands for Personal Protection Equipment. It is the equipment we wear in the lab to protect ourselves from injury. Today we'll start by looking at the various PPEs we can wear in a lab or workshop, and even some more common PPEs used in the industry. We'll also mention other safety practices along the way, which you would do very well to observe in conjunction with wearing those PPEs to remain safe. Starting from head to toe, we first have basic hard hat, which normally comes in bright colors and is made from high density polyethylene, also known as HDPE in short. It is normally used in construction sites or other areas where there can be danger of falling or flying objects, or even low hard objects against which you can hit your head. This PPE is made to protect your head from sharp impacts, however it has its limitations, as while it will absorb some of the impact by bending and sometimes deforming, some of the energy of the impact may still be transferred to your head and neck. It is also recommended that persons who have long hair make use of additional pieces of equipment when using tools and machinery to keep the hair out of the way and avoid it getting caught and pulled into harm's way. Hair clips, hair bands, hair nets, and so on are all good solutions. It is generally good practice to keep the hair above the shoulders when making use of these implements. Moving to the eyes, we must protect these from four main hazards, which are chemical spills or vapor, flying debris, and very bright light. We can protect our eyes from flying debris or chemical spills and vapor by wearing safety glasses or safety goggles. There are two main things to look for when buying safety glasses or goggles. First of all, look at the sheet of paper which is included in the packet to see if the equipment will protect your eyes from that particular danger you'll be exposed to, as some safety glasses offer different levels of protection, especially when it comes to debris or vapor intrusion, or even chemical resistance. The second thing is to check for fit. Make sure the equipment sits comfortably on your nose and ears and around your eyes. If not, find another model or one which has adjustable legs. If you make use of glasses, there are models which fit around your own specs, so as to wear them over your own glasses. As to bright light exposure during welding or certain chemical reactions, special tinted visors, glasses or goggles can be bought. Remember to always wipe down your glasses before and after use, and ideally to store them in a fabric pouch to avoid getting them scratched. Try to avoid sharing PPEs, as they can be vehicles for passing on ear, skin and eye infection. Moving on to ears, we can make use of earplugs, ear muffs or canal caps. These are used to protect our ears from exposure to high sound levels, which can damage both our eardrums as well as vital sound reception components in our ear. However, these PPEs should only be used when necessary, as they can be a hazard in themselves if kept on when not in need. Such situations can include the wearer not being able to hear things in his surroundings, such as a fire or smoke alarm, or other persons calling for his aid or attention. So ideally, ear protection should only be used when necessary and should be chosen according to the type of work being performed. Unless absolutely necessary, ear protection should not block out all sound completely, and headphones are not a good form of ear protection. Next, we move on to the mouth and lungs. Remember that when dealing with hazardous chemicals, there is the possibility that we could inhale toxic fumes or gases. In a workshop environment, we are also exposed to some toxic fumes in low levels when soldering, as well as a lot of particles in the air when performing heavy sanding jobs on the table sander. Because of this, we must make sure to be working in a well-ventilated room, as well as having a good filtered mask or respirator. These will filter the air we breathe, improving the quality of air we inhale. Next, we move on to the neck. Ideally, nothing should be hanging from the neck. However, if you have a small necklace which is approved by your shop supervisor, this must be tucked in safely into our clothing. And if wearing a tie as part of the uniform, this must either be held safely in place by a jumper or apron, or even tucked into your shirt through a gap between the buttons. Remember that anything hanging in front of you could get caught in any moving machinery. The only time it is considered prudent to wear neck protection is when welding. Here it is recommended to wear something like a fire-resistant buff, which will protect your neck from flying shards of hot metal, but remain safe around your neck while being easy to pull off should it accidentally catch fire. Next, we move on to the arms and hands. On the market there are a variety of gloves which are made to protect our hands from a variety of danger. Thick leather gloves can be found to protect our hands from cuts or burns when there is up to a certain amount of heat. Textured rubber gloves over a weaved fabric help to protect our hands from minor cuts while helping to improve our grip. Latex and rubber gloves help against chemical burns or contamination. The problem with many of these gloves is that when they are used for a length of time, they make our skin hot and sweaty, which leads to skin problems. Using separate cotton inner gloves can help absorb the moisture and help prevent these problems. Moving on to our upper and part of our lower body, the danger is the lab and workshop here is from our clothes catching fire, getting caught in tools, machinery, or even getting dirty, as well as getting injured or cut by tools. A good quality boiler suit, lab coat, or apron should all do a relatively good job in protecting us with a different amount of coverage and protection. These items are also not to be shared. However, if your workshop has an apron sharing policy, it is important that first of all, you choose the correct size for you. Secondly, wherever possible, the portion that goes around the back of your neck should be worn over a shirt collar to avoid direct skin contact. And finally, the waist should not be over-tightened and with a quick release knot so as to be easily pulled free in case the apron catches on fire or gets caught in any machinery. In industrial environments, additional safety equipment such as a harness or high visibility vest may be needed to protect the wearer when there is danger of falling from height or when working around many moving machinery or visibility is reduced. And finally, we move on to our feet and legs. The dangers here can be anything from sharp, heavy, or chemical objects falling or going over our feet, stepping into sharp objects which pierce or cut through our footwear, or something as simple as slipping on a wet or dirty surface. In factories or labs where high-sensitive electronic circuits are being built, static electricity can build up on our bodies, which can damage these objects with a simple touch. To avoid such hazards, the appropriate footwear needs to be selected. Many come in the form of safety shoes which have a variety of sole patterns or materials to protect against slipping and chemical absorptions. The sole can also include protection against penetration from sharp objects and in some cases against a certain amount of heat. Hard toe caps, thick penetration-resistant outer materials, and ankle protection can prevent or reduce injury from falling objects or anything we might hit or come across when walking. Running shoes, sandals, flip-flops and sliders should not be worn in the lab or workshop. Remember that PPEs are not enough to protect us from danger. We must always be vigilant, make an assessment of the hazards around us before we commence work, and make sure to know where we can find emergency equipment such as an emergency electric cut-off button, fire blankets, fire extinguishers, fire alarm buttons, eyewear stations, first aid kits, emergency exits, and emergency assembly points. Remember that it is your moral and ethical duty to be safe and protect yourself as well as those around you. Think safe, work safe, and be safe, because safety at work is everybody's business.